this time it is morning. This will be going out well before 11 a.m. because, quite honestly, I'm doing this at about 3 in the morning. And I will be embarking on a little adventure today, so I won't really have the time after I get up to do it, so I figured to do it before bed. I've had time to consult the cards and ask them what we need to know going forward. Here's the thing, though. There have been some questions recently on different parts of my social media and stuff like that. People are asking me, if I want to read runes, do I have to carry them in something that looks traditional? And my answer is absolutely not. So this is the rune bag that I carry my current set in. I do have that one bag, that leather bag that was made by Kaylee Burkana that contains a different set of runes. But for this one, I carry this around because I can just kind of sling it across me, and I can carry it around with me. And inside is my bag of runes. And of course I also have my pendulum, my rune cloth, and my my crystal skull in here. So I have a little kit that I can take anywhere. And I'm actually kind of giving thought to seeing if maybe this will house a tarot deck, and if so, I will be grabbing another one of these. In fact, let me just give that a little test right now. And it's looking good, actually. It's looking really good. As a matter of fact, it will hold a tarot deck. Excellent. Okay. So then we'll try for a tarot cloth next, and you know what? I'll give those a try. But it's carrying my pendulum, my crystal skull, and my runes, and a rune cloth. And that's everything I need in a little tactical bag. So yes, you can make your rune readings or your tarot readings tactical if you want. Or you can pick something else. You can make one yourself. It's all up to you. Remember, just because they carried them traditionally in bags such as this, I mean, carry them in a Crown Royal bag if it makes you happy. I really don't mind. Okay, let's get down to a little bit of business here before we get started. Actually, while we get started, because there we go. Just going to kind of move these around a bit, because I did want to bring something to your attention. Now, I understand, like, the price on everything is going up, and I really don't want that to happen. I'm trying to increase what I give to you, because if you're going to get me something, I want to give back just as good as you gave. So, I have gone through, I went through Amazon last night. I added a few new things to my wish list. Just, I love books, you know, and I really wanted to keep it really, really, cost effective for you. So if you do decide to give me a little something, a lot of the books that I added to my wish list are under 20 bucks. And yes, you will still get the same 5 readings, because you will get 4 readings in a room and birthday reading. And then if it's anything over 35 bucks, well then I'm going to give you 8. That's going to be 7 regular readings and then a birthday reading. And guess what? They're yours to do with as you wish. So yes, you can keep one for yourself and give the rest away, however you want to do it. It's totally up to you. If that is not something that you can or will do, that's fine. You can just simply enjoy the free ones right here. This is what a full reading will look like, but the one that I give to you will be far more personal. So, why don't we go ahead and get down with it. I'm sure that some of you have seen on CloudHub the, I'm still getting them, this is evil and you shouldn't do it. Well, you know what, I really don't care. I'm still doing it. I've been getting that for a couple years now, and you know what, I'm used to it, and it hasn't stopped me yet, so don't know who they're trying to convince. I think it's, if they're trying to convince themselves, well, all they're doing is giving me the free clicks, so, you know, it is what it is. Some people will just never break away from superstition, I guess, and that's fine. That is perfectly fine. We're just going to keep trucking, just like we always do, because that's how we do things here. Again, do you want to give your power away or do you want to take it back? That choice is solely up to you. Now for this one, because we have had a very dark week. We really have. We have lost quite a few people. We've lost Wyndham Rotunda. We've lost the guitarist for Whitesnake recently. Dark days indeed. Arlene Sorkin, Bob Barker, jeez. Terry Funk, just too many people in the span of just a few days. I will go on record by saying this is probably one of the worst weekends I've ever had. Holy smokes. And it seemed to get better as the days went on. But still, for me, it was a pretty cruddy weekend. I don't know about you. I mean, listen, I'm just like the rest of you, okay? I have my great days, I have my not so great days. Tomorrow, a friend of mine and I are going out and about, and we're going to see what kind of adventures we can get into, and yeah, we're going to just go have some fun. And you know what? The Rune of the Week and the Havelmal series, I'm probably going to be putting a slight hold on those for one day. I will probably deliver on those later tonight, so keep an eye out, because those will be coming. Let's have a look. What do we need to know this week to make this week a little better than the last? Well, let's start with who we are, and we are coming together. Now, the rune of the week for last week was Manas, which is about the self. It's about rectification. It's about growth as well, but it's also about humanity. We are going to have to come and meet in the middle at some point. Again, this does not mean that you start here, the other person starts here, and then you move all the way over here while they just give a little bit. No, meet directly in the middle. So from here to here, you meet here. You may have to give up ground. Now, you're not always going to get what you want, but if you try, you will find that you get what you need. And that is going to be the biggest thing to focus on, because you are being guided by the will of Weird again. Remember that Yggdrasil popped up last time, so we were involved in something much, much bigger than ourselves. Here's the thing. Again, the thing. How do you bring those people across to you? Something that came to mind. I was part of a group, and remember when I said, whenever you're faced with these people who are like, that's not good enough, that's not good enough, you do nothing for them, okay? Because we are reasonable people here. We don't bow, we don't cave, we don't bend knees. Here's what we do. We do what we can, what is reasonable, what is right, and what is good, as much as we can. We are not always going to get it right. We recognize such. But we will figure it out along the way. But what you don't do is you don't pursue the other person into the depths of the forest and try beating them constantly and berating them, belittling them. It does not work. It doesn't do anything but make you look like the asshole. So stop doing it. Instead, this is what it is about. If you want to show off how great you truly are, if you really want to show how great your power is, how empowered you truly are, show that you can also be vulnerable. You have to be able to reach across. How are you going to do that? Well, let's look to nature, right? Because that's, at the end of the day, that's what we are. We're nature. So in nature, we are that groundhog spirit. We're going to have to let go of some things. So right now, what are we clinging on to too hard? Because I can tell you right now, that looks like if I'm not mistaken, it's a Four of Pentacles moment. And I wouldn't be surprised to see it pop up in here. I wouldn't be surprised to see the Devil card pop up, because that's what we're holding on to too hard. We're just addicted to it. We can't let it go. It's ruining us. And I can tell you right now, I was actually going through some YouTube shorts. I saw Brian Head Welch from Korn, who realized that the drugs in his life were going to kill him, and he needed to be a father to his daughter. And so he sought outside spiritual help. And you know what? That's what he's been doing for years now, being a father to his daughter. So he realized that the one thing that he really, that he liked, but it was controlling him, was his drug addiction. And it was going to kill him one day. So he had to let go of that so that he could be with his daughter. Now, let's look at the destructive behaviors that we all engage in, because we all have those. We're not perfect beings, we're empowered. And empowered beings look at how they're possibly abusing that power. Personally, I can tell you one thing. I went outside earlier and I looked at my plants, the little potted plants that I have, and I'm growing two things. I'm growing dill and I'm growing chives. Dill is actually sprouting. The chives have not yet. Chives seem to take a little more time, but that's all right. That is okay. I'm going to let them grow at their own pace. I'm still going to talk to them. I'm still going to play music for them. I'm still going to feed them water every day. And now they sit out on my windowsill and they get that sunlight every morning. They get that sunlight every day. I'm going to make sure that they are good and that their needs are met, and that's what we need to do. In order for us to grow, we need to ensure that our needs are met, but that is up to us, and we have to do it in the best way possible. Let's look at our mindset for a minute. We've got a moon in reverse, so not exactly dark times ahead. We do have some kind of light moving forward. It's interesting that on the day of Mani we get the moon in reverse, because now we've got a little bit of a clearer path. We've got that kind of revelation that's going to be moving us right into. Remember, we got this last time. How are we being defensive? Because now we're starting to see this a little in a different way. When we feel like everything's against us, remember that this is a playful sparring session. This is a little bit of that back and forth. When they expand, you contract. When they contract, you expand. Kind of be able to use that momentum if you can. Use their momentum. It's less effort for you. On top of that, we have this Empress in reverse, so we do not have that nurturing energy right now. And that's where this is where the toxic parts of our mind are taking over. We're kind of bitter and we're a little vengeful right now, and we're all licking our wounds. Some of us are recovering from that Mercury in retrograde this past week, where technology was just failing at every given point, and in a society where we're technologically reliant, boy, was that an upset. I know I had it a lot, and let me tell you, frustration. And that's what we're looking at right in here, is we're looking at our frustration, but rather than getting mired down in that frustration, we need to start saying, okay, what can we learn from it? Because once we learn from it, then we can start growing, can't we? So from there, we do have this Two of Cups, and this is in the very physical sense. We have a Queen of Pentacles, and we also have an Ace of Pentacles. So let's start with this Two of Cups, this really tight partnership, this almost soulmate energy that we're developing right now. And I really hate to jump ahead, but I'm going to, because there is brand new opportunity here. But the thing is, you have to quit relying on the opulence, because this card is all about opulence. We're not nurturing for opulence. We are nurturing for opportunity and clarity in the very physical, real sense. Those that have aligned themselves with you are on board now. But you have to be ready and willing to learn from them as much as you are ready to teach them. Get ready for that. That was also the subject of the last reading. And just remember Peter Cullen's brother's words to him when he was excited for being Optimus Prime. Because remember, Peter Cullen voiced a villain before he voiced our hero Optimus Prime. He voiced the villainous Car in Knight Rider, Kit's predecessor. It's true. Go back and listen. Do a side by side. You will hear them. I'm sure there's stuff right here on YouTube. You can just go and look. But he was this villainous Car, and then suddenly he's this heroic Optimus Prime. And his brother said, Peter, if you're going to be a leader, be strong enough to be gentle. And there's where we're looking at. Are we strong enough now to be gentle? Because we've been a bit hard-ass right now. Right, and we kind of equate that strength to being a hard-ass. And the strong does not mean being an absolute nightmare for others, alright? Doesn't mean being difficult. It means that you have to temper your own sense of, I know what I'm doing, and the rest of you should fall in line with, you know what, I have this flow, and I want to show it to you. I'll show you exactly why it works. Now, if you have any other ideas, we can discuss, but if you can figure out a better way, then we'll talk about that. Okay? No promises, but we'll talk about it. And see, now you're starting to win people over. Now you're starting to kind of bring people into what it is you see. In the spiritual, we have this Two of Wands, we do have this Ten of Cups in reverse, and we also have, of course, the Four of Pentacles. Here's where we're holding on to something just way too hard, because right now we have these very, very unique choices to make. And this is where our opportunities are going to lie. Because sometimes with these choices, it's like, they're difficult. But in this particular sense, I don't think it's going to be such a difficult choice that you can't do it. I think you can. I think we all can. But we have to be able to want it, don't we? I know I do. But wanting it, needing it, I think that's where we really want to go. Well, what do we need the most? Because right now, on one hand there's riches, fortune, magnificence, and on the other there's physical suffering, disease, chagrin, sadness, mortification. But here's the thing, the design gives one suggestion, and here's a lord overlooking his dominion and alternately contemplating the world. But it also looks like malady, right? The sadness amidst the grandeur of this world's wealth. So, the question is, do you do what's expedient only to gain the world and completely lose your soul? Because let me tell you what you stand to lose, and it's right here in that Ten of Cups. That Ten of Cups is looking like everything that really matters to you completely reverses on you. Sure, it looks like a scheme to just rise to the top as quickly as possible, and let me tell you, that is always very tempting. You are looking at a very tempting choice, but it's not going to be as easy as all that. Nothing good ever comes easy. Let's remember that, because this is where that Four of Pentacles moment comes in. You are just holding on entirely too tightly, and notice how it lines right up with that groundhog spirit, which lets you know it is time to let go. I know that you've been chasing a lot of your goals lately, and I have been the first one to tell you, chase those goals, chase those dreams, go after them, let your dogged determination just go wild. But there are times where you have to stop being Ahab after his whale. because sometimes your dogged determination can make you miss things, and if you miss those things, that will kill everything, and you may gain the entire world and then not get shit. That's why I brought this other deck out, the Sacred Light Oracle, because we're going to have a look at it. And I think this will help guide us. Now, your own magic, the Well of Weird, that is your magic, okay? And your magic is very, very real. But you have to understand that there is a process it goes through. And you cannot force that process. Well, no, any more than I can force the growth of those two plants that I'm raising. It is a process. It takes time. It takes just every day doing something for it. If I do not water those plants every day, they will begin to die, and they understand more than anyone that right now they have to come out of the shell, they have to crack themselves open, they have to reach out and start reaching those roots down in first. Then they can take those nutrients and they can push that dirt and they come up through it, and then they're visible. Okay, remember that process, because that is a truly magical process, albeit we are able to explain it very naturally, right? We are. But your first card, speaking of that Two of Wands there, we got Lord Melchizedek. And this is about being indecisive. Being indecisive, those ego-based actions, and a lifestyle change. Ladies and gentlemen, let me tell you something. If you want to lose weight, you're going to have to change the way you eat. Just that simple. You got to quit eating crap. You can't eat at McDonald's all the time. You can't eat at Burger King or Taco Bell all the time. You're going to have to change the way you eat, right? If you start eating more salads, you start snacking on more fruits and vegetables, I guarantee your weight's going to start coming off of you like that. Before you know it, your waist size is going to shrink. Combine it with a little exercise. I don't care if it's just walking or 10 push-ups a day or however many you can do. And guess what? You will start developing strength. You will start developing muscle. You will start losing that size. And you will start looking and feeling better. It's a process. But it's a process that you are able to do. You are able to bring yourself in line with your own goals, but you must trust the process and you must implement it. Let's have a look in the physical, because right now in your mind, you're looking at ego-based decisions. We're all getting mired down in our own pain and our own grief. And it's fine to process that grief, but I'm telling you right now, it's not good to dwell in it. Don't let the anger turn inward. Like Master Splinter said, anger turned inward is an unconquerable enemy. It's called depression. Understood? I certainly hope so. Physically speaking, we have a celestial channel. Now this is your hidden beauty. You have to stay a little neutral. And you have to see the true beauty in things. Okay? But remain optimistic. Don't get buried in your pessimism, because your optimism is what drives you. It inspires others and it motivates. Okay? Definitely be willing to undergo the process. And finally, we have Antakarana, which this is crossing the Rainbow Bridge, resurrection, and coming full circle. Crossing the Bifrost, if you will. We always talk about sending pets over the Rainbow Bridge, right? This is your opportunity. You're not dying. You're letting a certain death take place. A death of something that you no longer need. Something that's not serving you. Let go of it. And for the first rune, I got Laguz again. This is that flow that needs to be established. So when you're right there, when you're seeing it. And you know where I really see this the most? Right there in that new opportunity. I see it as something very physical. However, it's taking place right here in the mind. So you're really going to have to let yourself sometimes embrace the suck. I also have Ivaz here, which is the yew tree. You're going to have to be very flexible. So don't let inflexibility completely derail your entire plan, because your plans are good, but they need some modification. And finally, we got Hagalars. Remember when I said nothing good ever comes easily? Well, Hagalars is right here, because I can tell you this much. Hagalars is where you're having trouble letting go of things, and that trouble letting go of things is what's bringing that hailstorm into your life. Again, don't get mired in your own pain. Sometimes a dream deferred is actually a really good thing. These are blessings in disguise, and they're manifesting themselves, and you're going to have to learn how to take all the stuff that sucked from this past week and move it into something that is an opportunity for growth. Again, the prettiest flowers have to push through a lot of dirt to get there. They weren't always just there. And neither are you. Even Ed Sheeran, I saw a short with him, and he said, people talk about, oh, you're so talented, and I'm like, nope. And he played an earlier song where his singing was not very good. He had to learn to kind of tone down the voice. He wanted to go way up here, and he had to bring it way down here. And now you listen to him today, and he's world famous. Everyone knows his name. Before, nobody would have known it, because nobody would have listened to it, save for a very small cult following. Now, I want you to remember that this is about your personal growth and development. If you're not growing, you're regressing, and that's it. Those are your options. That is your choice. Which one will you do? Will you let go of that thing that you're holding on to just a little too tightly and grow? Or will you cling to it with all your might and regress? Because eventually this is going to overtake you if you don't let go of it starting today. Remember, there's a flow to things. There is the ability for you to bend and sway however you need. This should not break you. And if you're inflexible, that's exactly what you will do. You will break. Ladies and gentlemen, the last couple weeks have been a lot of warning. This week is no exception. However, we are closer now than ever. Closer to you developing, closer to you growing, closer to you coming up out of the dirt, peeking up out of the dirt and saying, you know what? My network of roots is strong, and I'm still here. And that's what you have to remember. Just keep on swimming. Because no matter what, your job is not done. You still have things to do. And I know you're tired. And I know you're frustrated sometimes. And I know that everything seems like it's almost insurmountable. But the one thing that you do not have to hold on, the thing that you can let go, is the weight of the world on your shoulders. Because it's not yours to bear. Alright. I just want you to remember, I love you all. Take care of yourselves and each other. Always do what lights you up, and as always, shine on.